On this episode, we're going to be working on these 4 backhoe buckets. These belong to my brother. He has a tractor similar to this. And we're going to take these 4 buckets. We're going to power wash them, get them cleaned up. We're going to sand off the rust. We're going to give them a good coat of primer. And then we're going to give them a heavy-duty coat of paint. So first, we're going to get started with the power washing. So here we go. Ready? Power on. Mainly, I'm just trying to remove all the dirt and grime, just so I can have these ready to take a side grinder to and a brush wheel and get all this rust off. Sent me this pole that I could use. He said if you put it in here, you can kind of manipulate the bucket with ease. So that's what we're gonna do. Get some of this water out of the bucket. I'm still trying to find the easy part. Alright, I'm gonna try this. I may take this out there and see what I can do around some of the detail parts. Well, that didn't last long. That battery must have already been dead. Moving on. I'm gonna go get me some gloves. I don't really want to get this on my skin. Got me some gloves. Okay, so the way I'm having to do this is I'm having to rock it back and forth to get it all the way down to the bottom. I'll tell you what, that's a pretty clean bucket here on the inside. Got it nice and clean and wiped down. We're gonna get the primer ready and get it ready to paint. Alright, so my brother supplied me with all this paint to use. I guess this is like an industrial strength. Oh yeah. Nice primer. Thick. I'm gonna get this stirred up. It's been sitting a while. This is some thick primer. We just about got it all stirred up. Trying to get all those pigments from the bottom. You can kind of feel them down in the bottom. Just starting to smooth out. Alright, we got the primer all smoothed out, so I'm gonna take my little chip brush nothing fancy about it, just mainly coverage. It's a primer, so it's gonna be like an anti-rust base coat. I may add a tip of paint thinner to it so it'll brush smooth. Just adding a little mineral spirits or paint thinner can help paint brush out smooth when it's thick like that for your oil-based paints. I got one knocked out. Got it primed. It's looking good. Here I am opening up the bucket. This was the same brand as what I used with the primer. It's like an industrial strength heavy duty paint made by Sherwin. This was in the color black. I grabbed my paint stick and I was stirring it up. I could tell it was a lot thicker than the primer that I had used prior. I don't know if it was the temperature of the day, because it had set in my garage overnight and the temperature was about a little over 50 degrees, so it was quite thick at this time. So to help with movement of the paint, I decided to add a little paint thinner in a small container. I stirred it up the best I could to keep it, I didn't want it too thin, but I wanted it to be able to move freely on the buckets as I painted them. Now, either because the temperature outside was close to 50, or because the buckets were really cold, or because the paint was just a different consistency, it painted like it was like thick honey. Now this tells me that this is a really strong industrial paint, but it was a little difficult to put on. I went ahead and managed through to do the whole bucket, but I thought I would go at a different angle when I painted the second bucket. So you'll see here as I paint this whole bucket. Okay, so it's another day. I went ahead and powered through and painted those buckets with the black Sherwin paint. I used just a regular paint thinner to help thin it down to help with the movement of the paint. That did help, but that particular paint was like, it had a consistency of honey, and even when I thinned it, it was almost like hot honey. Here is what they look like when I finished. This is Case Construction Factory Approved Enamel Paint. The other was a Sherwin Williams paint. So maybe, just maybe, this one will work a little better. Before I add anything to it, I'm going to go ahead and use this straight out of the can to see how the movement is. Okay, I can already tell this feels different. It feels a lot like the primer that I use. Something about that black paint, I'm not certain about. I'm sure it's a really good paint. And maybe it's just best if you put it on in really warm weather. Maybe it would be a little easier to apply. But this is working a lot better. Okay, so far, this is just straight out of the bucket. I haven't added anything to it. I'm just going to see. So far, it seems to be acting pretty well when I paint it. So I don't really have a need for any thinner. So I'm just going to use it straight out of the container and see how it does. Well, we got another one complete. This one's the yellow case bucket with the case paint. This paint went on a lot better than the black did. As you can see back here, I've got 3 of the 4 completed. I did the 2 in black with the Sherwin industrial type paint. I have mixed reviews about that. It is a good paint. It was very strong. When it goes on, but you have to keep your brush moving to keep the flow because it's flowing like honey. And it goes on like honey. It's pretty sticky. I did try to thin it down with a paint thinner. That worked okay. I even tried a product called Napta, and that worked okay also. But a lot of it may have to do with the temperature that I'm dealing with. It's about 50 degrees here. But, you know, you just do what you got to do. The case paint worked marvelous. It was a little thinner. It flowed well. I used it straight out of the bucket. I didn't even add anything to it. It's a case tractor paint. I've got this one complete, and I'll be working on the 4th one here shortly. But I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and end this video because it's just more of the same. I appreciate you watching. I hope you picked up a bunch of tips along the way. And if you don't mind, please like and subscribe. That really helps the channel out. And also, get out there and do something. Get out there and try something you've never tried before. You know, I always say, there's always folks that say, I can't do it. But, you know, if you get out there and just try to do it, watch YouTube videos, ask others about how to do stuff, just get out there and try. You never know what you can do until you try. Southern Gal DIY signing out. Bye-bye.